Depression. According to World Health Organization, approximately 280 million people in the world have depression. Depression is a common mental disorder globally. It is estimated that 5% of adults suffer from depression. Depression is the leading cause of disability worldwide and is a major contributor to the overall global burden of disease. There's an effective treatment for mild, moderate, and severe depression. Depression affects almost 4% population of the world, yet it can be hard for many depressed souls to understand and cure it properly. Depression is very difficult for people to understand because it is a form of mental illness and most of the symptoms are behavioral and spiritual. Almost all depressed people struggle with this problem for a long time. As it is not a physical ailment or one of the expected daily life problems, it is very hard to understand and acknowledge it. A thorough understanding of this problem requires a normal healthy brain and, unfortunately, a depressed and mentally ill person lacks it. In the beginning, depression is idiopathic, a disease with an unknown cause. So, the cure for depression begins with feeling it and realizing it with a new frame of mind. First, we should focus on the most common symptoms which almost everyone experiences in the depressed phase of life. Symptoms of depression. Number 1. The dark phase of life. The first major symptom is that the person suffering from depression is in the dark phase of his life. He has been struggling with some serious problems over many months or years in the past. Most importantly, the problems are not easy ones that he can solve himself or openly express in front of people. He exerts very hard, but due to a lack of resources and mental strength, all of his efforts go in vain, which makes him miserable and hopeless. Number 2. Stress. Stress is not a form of mental illness, but it is one major factor in developing depression. Most people are depressed because of chronic stress over a long period of time. Stress is a very common term, often used, but it is not easily understood. Stress is also generated and controlled by the body's natural feedback mechanism. Even normal and mentally fit people cannot figure out mental stress, its cause, and the suitable course of action to minimize it. Number 3. Anxiety. Who are stressed for quite long feel anxiety at times. It is another abstract feeling associated with nervousness, panic, and fear as well. Patients having ongoing difficulty in concentrating and are easily fatigued. It is a common mental disorder and affects nearly 30% of adults at some point in their lives. Number 4. Mental illness. As the body feels all these feelings consistently, the brain starts trying to tackle these emotions. The continuous, unchecked exertion by the brain makes all the focus of a person divert towards these feelings. This results in mental illness, in which the human brain cannot function properly. Most of the brain is always consumed in dealing with these abstract negative feelings and emotions. That's why patients cannot focus on other aspects of life. This also creates enormous stress and fear in patients, which results in future mental illness and depression. Number 5. Loss of control. As the patient is struggling with mental health and anxiety, slowly he starts losing control over other things. His daily life routine sucks. He cannot perform normal actions as he was able to do them in past. In acute and severe cases of depression, patients even have difficulty in normal conversation with people. They cannot feel the same as other normal people feel. This loss of control brutally damages the already damaged mental health and the conditions become more severe. Number 6. Social problems. The patient is in a state of depression and misery. This affects his interaction with friends and family, which ultimately results in loneliness and more social problems. As this condition is so much vague, he feels very difficult to express himself in front of the people. Sometimes, while in a state of anger and frustration, he maltreats someone, which makes him feel humiliated and very low in the eyes of people. This adversely tortures his self-esteem and character. Number 7. Diverse problems. Dealing with all these negative feelings and emotions, along with an unhealthy mind, the patient is unable to cope with many daily problems of life. These problems might include his studies, daily tasks, office work, and household routine tasks. Number 8. Hopelessness. The continuous burden of problems, negative thoughts, and disturbed feelings makes a patient very upset and anxious about his mental and spiritual health. This rapidly progressing stress and anxiety further afflict mental health. The patient reaches a state where he cannot control all these emotions and thoughts. He tries his best to get out of this state, but due to the feedback loop, he makes his condition more severe. This loss of control and continuous progression of thoughts makes him feel hopeless in front of this idiopathic disease. Depression is different from the typical feeling of sadness, stress, anger, and frustration. In depression, the patient's mind and soul are in vulnerable state. In severe and chronic depression, the patient starts having thoughts of ending himself due to the uncontrolled progression of the disease. It generates great fear which multiplies rapidly if proper actions are not taken. Patients suffering from mild depression also get scared of its progress and continuity. They feel that they are slowly heading towards a condition where nothing would be in their control. Having said all these problems, we can conclude that depression is a serious mental disorder and it requires a lot of time to fully understand and tackle it. So, in this video, we have just described the symptoms of depression and mental illness. We are trying our best to thoroughly explain mental health and its related issues. So, kindly press the subscribe button and stay in touch with us.